Good morning. My name is Bob McKenna. I'm the President and CEO of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to welcome you this morning to the American Revolution Museum and the first ever State of the County for York County.
And I'd also like to say good morning. My name is Chris Davidson, President of the York County Chamber of Commerce, and thank you all for coming this morning. I'd like to welcome some of the folks here today that really make this happen, make the county happen, and make things run smoothly for all of our citizens and businesses. First of all, from our Board of Supervisors here, we've got Chad Green, Sheila Knoll, Jeff Wasmer, and Chairman Tom Shepard, who you're going to hear from in just a few minutes. Also, a special thank you to our distinguished County Administrator, Neil Morgan.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our presenting sponsor. Rob Shuford Jr. is CEO and President of Old Point National Bank. Prior to being appointed as President, he served as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. He has served on many boards, including Versability, Peninsula YMCA, Hampton History Museum Association, Civic Leadership Institute, and is the immediate past chair of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. He has a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering from Duke University, and most importantly, in my eyes, he is a veteran of the world's greatest fighting force, the United States Navy. No comment? No comments from the peanut gallery over there. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Shuford.
Thank you so much, Chris and Bob. Wow, what a great idea. This is an absolutely beautiful venue, and really, really happy to be here. Thank you to everyone who is in attendance today as we learn more about and show support for all of the great things that are happening in York County. Old Point is so pleased to sponsor the first annual York County State of the County with the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce and the York County Chamber of Commerce. At Old Point, we are proud of our history of service to York County and the entire Hampton Roads region. It is Old Point's mission to provide our customers with innovative banking services and products every single day. Today's Old Point offers access to cutting-edge mobile and online services, including mobile check capture, 55,000 free ATMs worldwide. From sophisticated treasury, commercial, payroll, and human resources services for businesses to all the way to private banking for each and every one of you. Also, wealth, trust for individuals, Old Point is here for you every day. We're exceptionally pleased to now offer Old Point Insurance, Old Point Mortgage, and secure checking with identity protection services. When you become part of the Old Point family, you have access to generations of expertise, provided face-to-face by people you know and trust. 100% of our employees live, work, and shop in the footprint in which we serve, and we pride ourselves on creating a better community every day. Today, I have the great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, the Honorable Tom Shepard, York County's Board of Supervisors Chairman and District 5 Representative. Tom was first elected to the York County Board of Supervisors in November 2001 and is currently serving in his 17th year on the board. He has served 5 times as chairman and vice chairman of the board. Tom received his BA in biology from Jacksonville University and his MA in management from Pepperdine University. Tom retired from the Air Force with the rank of colonel in January 1998 after 26 years of service, during which he traveled extensively throughout the world as a pilot, commanded multiple squadrons, and served as a staff member of the Joint Staff in the Pentagon. After leaving the military, he worked as a defense contractor in support of the Joint Warfighting Center and the United States Air Force. He retired in 2011 from Allianz Science and Technology, where he served as an assistant vice president and program manager. In addition to his Board of Supervisor duties, Tom also serves on several regional boards and commissions representing the 1.7 million people within the 17 jurisdictions that comprise the Hampton Roads metropolitan area. He is currently chairman of the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization and a commissioner of the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission. Tom and his wife Judy have lived in Virginia since 1989 and moved to York County in 1993. They have 2 children, both graduates of Virginia Tech. Their daughter Melanie, a major, retired with the United States Air Force, and their son Eric, a patent examiner with the Department of Commerce. They both reside in Virginia. Please join me in welcoming this morning the Honorable Tom Shepard.
I realized as I was stepping up here, we all have something in common. None of us know what I'm going to say. Well, sorry, I do. I have to rely on my wife a lot to get me through a lot of these speeches and stuff like that. And I can also rely on my fellow board members to keep me humble. I mean, they say a lot of good things, so they just turn on me and say, Tom, that's not you. So great, great introduction, Rob. Thank you very much. With that great introduction, either you got the wrong speaker or I'm in the wrong crowd. But anyway, I'm here for you. Okay, thank you, Rob, for the nice introduction and the Old Point generous support of this morning's event. And thank all of you, especially my fellow board members, for being here. It is truly a beautiful day in York County. I believe that most people choose to live in York County because of the outstanding quality of life that we enjoy here. I think you'll agree those qualities include the usual bragging points, such as great schools, wonderful neighborhoods, low crime, low taxes, and lots of open space. Ask yourself, isn't it why you are here, as a resident, as a business owner, or hopefully both? As the elected leader of York County, my fellow board members and I all recognize what makes contemporary York County a community of choice. The central question is, how do we navigate to the future success? In other words, how do we protect what is best about the county while recognizing that we live in a rapidly changing environment? This morning, I'll share with you where we are in our collective efforts, and most importantly, where we are going. But this is York County, where America's future began. So let's start with a few reminders about our recent history as a way to remind us all of how quickly and how rapidly things can change. Do you remember the drive-in theater on 17, now long gone, where we now have a Walmart that's over 200,000 square feet? In a few months, Riverside Regional Rehabilitation Hospital will open just across the street from the Walmart. Quaint pictures of Yorktown remind us of what the beach area looked like back in the 1970s. While we have pleasant memories of what used to be, the redeveloped Riverwalk Landing is now the pride of the county. Although we might complain about traffic, it's important to compare that time not so long ago when Route 17 was a 2-lane road to the current period in which we await additional widening to 6 lanes. And together we celebrate the successful regional initiative to widen I-64 all the way to the North County line. The point is that the community has changed dramatically, and we must anticipate additional changes as we go forward. Here's a snapshot of where we are now. Our population is roughly 69,000, and it represents only 4% of the Hampton Roads' largely stagnant population of 1.7 million. We are a relatively wealthy county or community with a median household income of around $98,000. Now, I will tell you, to put that in perspective, when I say that number to a lot of communities, they're just kind of shocked because they're lucky if they can get to 36,000. And in some places, and down to the southern end of the county, the average household income is in the hundreds and 20,000. Okay. Well, we got to remember, we still have areas where the population and the communities has the 36,000. It's something important to understand what we have here. But our household income represents 139% of the national average for localities, 159% of the state average, and is among the highest in Hampton Roads' 17 cities and counties. Our residents average about 4 years older than the average for our region and about 2 years above the national average. In terms of ethnicity, York is 77% Caucasian, 13% African American, and the remaining 10% of various heritages. With few exceptions, we live in a mostly integrated community, and I am so very proud of that. York's 19 public schools are all fully accredited and consistently produce student achievement rates of the highest level in Hampton Roads and within the Commonwealth of Virginia. Our student population, after declining during the Great Recession, has returned to 12,820 enrollees as of this April. And believe it or not, that's just 100 students more than the 12,720 counted a decade ago in 2009. Significantly, ours is one of 3 school systems in all of Hampton Roads that still projects some student population growth in the future years. The others is Williamsburg, James City County, and Chesapeake. We tout York County schools, and for good reason. Have any of you volunteered yet to be part of the new Engaged In program? And some of you may not have never heard that. This is a new school initiative in partnership with the York County Chamber and the York County Economic Development Authority. The program connects students, businesses, organizations, and community leaders so that every one of our high school students will have an opportunity to complete an internship, mentorship, job shadowing experience before they graduate. This is preparing our youth for the future. To date, 100 community participants have signed up, and I encourage all of you out there to think about doing so. After all, these will be our future computer programmers, engineers, bankers, and healthcare providers. I can tell you our students, teachers, and administrators are committed and passionate about the success of the York County School Division. For the past few years, I have participated in Principal for a Day, including last year at Mount Vernon Elementary School. What a treat. I mean, what a treat. What I saw was impressive. I observed third graders in a thing called the Makerspace. Now, I know in industry you've talked about Makerspace, but I am so fired up over this Makerspace. It needs to be in every one of our schools. The Makerspace motto is design, experiment, build, and invent. The 8- and 9-year-olds are designing and building robots, programming them, and running them through their paces. What a great way for our students to learn about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And believe me, they are interested. I've never seen kids so fired up as to get into that makerspace and start screwing around with the computers and the robots. It's wonderful to watch. And it's not just in the very early or the very advanced grades of the middle school. It's everywhere in there, and it is awesome. We remain a low-crime locality. In fact, it is worth noting that our population has grown 20% since the late 1990s, but our crime rate is down 20% over the same period. Ours is one of the lowest in the region and compares favorably to almost all communities of our size nationwide. Although we strongly urge folks not to, some of us still can't help ourselves, but we leave our cars and our houses unlocked. And ironically, that contributes to much of our property crime. Candidly, we are not immune to criminal behavior related to drug abuse and are especially challenged by the opioid crisis, as is the entire region. And then one caveat for Danny and his troops, I get the reports all the time on crime, and I talk about that to the neighbors. Our number one crime is larceny from vehicles. What a problem to have. What a problem to have. But still, lock your cars, take your purses out, things like that. The county's pattern of development continues to evolve slowly, but was, in many years, established in the 1980s. The southern part of the county has a dense residential grid with limited commercial and industrial real estate. In recent years, much of the limited growth in the lower county has been infill construction, following the long-established zoning patterns. The upper county has a much lower density, in part because of the large amount of federally owned land and because it is more distant from the peninsula's employment centers. That portion of the county is now becoming the focus of much of the new construction that we are seeing, especially with the regional improvements and the ongoing improvements in I-64. The county continues its long tradition of conservative fiscal management and budgeting. And before I go on anymore, I want to just say something about the density of this county, because I hear this all the time. A lot of folks don't realize that 40% of this county is wooded. 40%. We're 26 miles long, 6 miles wide. Population density is right around 650, roughly, per square mile. But if you go to the northern end of the county, which is up towards Lightfoot, it's only 32 people per square mile. You come down to my district, down in the southern end of the county, the density runs around 2,100 people per square mile. And in certain parts of my district, on District 5, that runs along near the city of Hampton, the population density is some of the densest in the state of Virginia at 7,100 people per square mile. So the distribution is really interesting in this county. The county continues its longstanding tradition of conservative fiscal management and budgeting. That means several different things. For many residents and businesses, it means you pay lower taxes. At 79.5 cents, our real estate tax rate is the lowest of any major full-service locality in Hampton Roads. And when I say full service, folks, I'm talking about a county that has a professional firefighting force. And we have no towns and no cities. A lot of the counties, they have towns and cities where those towns and cities have charters and they pick up a lot of the cost of the services. Your county does it all. But fiscal conservative management also means prudent use of reserves, cautious budgeting, and insisting on a plan of finance when it comes to capital projects and debt management. My board colleagues and I are very proud of our commitment to these fiscal principles. Stated plainly, we are cautious, we remain ready for a rainy day, and we are transparent with our money management. Let us talk about some specifics. This is, after all, the Chamber of Commerce speech, so it's appropriate to discuss some of the good things that have been accomplished by your county, government, and our regional partners. How we've charted our course since the end of the Great Recession is the yardstick I will use. Perhaps the most profound regional initiative in recent years has been the HRTAC, HRTPO, and that's the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission and the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, the Interstate Highway Construction Program. While time does not allow me to go too deeply into the topics, and I know Neil's breathing a sigh of relief on that, it is starting to make a real difference in our economy and in our quality of life. Probably the most impactful to many of you is the widening of I-64, just completed to Williamsburg and under construction all the way to the northern county line. Other equally substantial projects are underway in the southern Hampton Roads, and a $3.6 billion contract to widen and rebuild the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel have been awarded. The progress we are making with our interstate system is historic, both in scale and in agreement. And I am pleased to say that with the support of my colleagues and the Board of Supervisors, on the Board of Supervisors, I have personally been honored to play a role in this effort. It's obviously important to our citizens because it reduces commute time and improves our everyday quality of life. It's perhaps even more important from an economic development perspective. The three pillars of the region economy are tourism, our port, and the military. Successfully upgrading the regional transportation system is critical to the future of all three. We have recently had another major regional accomplishment in the area of tourism promotion. In 2018, the Virginia General Assembly, with Senator Norman's leadership, created the Greater Williamsburg Tourism Council, a new structure to promote the historic Triangle as a tourist destination. By adding a sales tax surcharge in York County, Williamsburg, and James City County, the funding available to promote tourism within the historic Triangle has nearly tripled. This is more than a nice-to-have opportunity. How many of our top taxpayers do you think are tied to tourism? 8. That's 8 of York County's 13 largest real estate taxpayers are tied to tourism. And the nice thing, ladies and gentlemen, about tourism, people come, they leave, they spend money. They don't put kids in the schools, okay? They don't cause social issues mostly. It's free money. And the state of Florida learned that years ago. This increase in market funding means that our region can compete with places like Chattanooga, Asheville, and Myrtle Beach. Just a small increase in tourism visitation will have a large impact on the county's economy and budget. I am pleased to report that York County has been a major player in this initiative as well, with special recognition and thanks to Sheila Knoll for her work during her tenure as chair, and Jeff Wasmer, who is currently leading the new Tourism Council as the chairman. This increase in sales tax revenue doesn't just go to support tourism. 1/2 of every penny collected is returned to the county. And I am happy to say that the money is allowing us to sustain our capital investment in infrastructure, even with a loss of $2 million in tax revenue from the shutdown of the coal turbine at the York Power Station and the reassessment of the Plains Oil Terminal. Now, I know that infrastructure and capital improvement is a boring subject because it deals with roof repairs, air conditioning, building maintenance, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you what, it is critical for us to have our government be able to work and do it wisely. You take care of your homes, you take care of your money, you do it the same way, and we try to be smart, and we do it in a rational manner by saving up so we don't go broke at the end, as we have seen some local governments do in the state of Virginia. And with the recent losses, and again, that's of the turbines, the tax we've lost from the power station and the Plains Oil, we are more determined than ever to support our EDA and their effort to spur business development in and around our commercial development. The most recent projects include the expansion of the York Veterinary Hospital and the Snow Company investment in the rehab of the 4-story, and it's our skyscraper, on Waller Mill Road, and the newly opened, to great success and review, Casa Pearl Restaurant on Merrimack Trail. Of course, our business folks and our residents tend to look directly to their county government when it comes to positively shaping our community. And since the end of the Great Recession, we have had a great story to tell. Last year, the county completed the $20 million Queens Lake Sewer Project, one of the largest in our history, and one of the last residential areas of the county to get upgraded from septic systems. That's a huge community down there, $19 million. And we got them off the septic system, which was damaging basically our environment. It was a great success story there. We are also very proud of recent work rebuilding the water, sewer, and road system in Carver Gardens at a price tag of $3.5 million. I want to acknowledge Supervisor Walt Zaremba, who has been an effective advocate for both of these projects, and they are very important infrastructure improvements. We continue to invest in our stormwater system, something that's become even more critical in the face of sea level rise and climate change. Of particular note is the ongoing work at the headwaters of Wormley Creek. These projects, championed most especially by Vice Chairman Chad Green, have continued to improve stormwater quality and flood control from Edge Hill to the York River. An additional $3.5 million, along with some VDOT revenue sharing funds, have been committed to complete all phases of this project by 2023. We're also very pleased with our ability to fund major renovation and other construction projects, both related to York County School Division and our aging county facilities. Averaging over $9 million annually, some of the recent school projects have included major renovations at Waller Mill Elementary School, $8.5 million, Yorktown Elementary School for $6 million. Additional projects currently underway are Tabb Elementary School at $5.7 million, and the second phase of the Grafton Complex renovation at $7 million. Folks, that was millions of dollars. Okay, that's not hundreds of thousands, that's millions of dollars that the citizens of York County are paying for. And that's the money that's going well spent on the future of our country. Next on the school board's to-do list is the additional work of the York High School and Seaford Elementaries in the pipeline. On the county side, of course, the most visible building project is the new Fire Station Number 1 on Constitution Drive. That $7.5 million facility will open this fall, replacing a station that's nearly 60 years old. It is one of 6 stations manned by a professional firefighting force that together experiences almost 12,000 calls annually. 12,000 calls annually, with an average response time of approximately 5 minutes or less. Our cardiac resuscitation rate is among the best in the region, the Commonwealth, and across the country. The county's fire protection class rating has steadily improved and currently is in the top 2.5% of all fire departments within Virginia and the top 3% nationally. We got a lot to be proud of there, Chief. Thank you very much. And just a note, as hurricane season approaches, Fire and Life Safety coordinates our county emergency management and disaster preparedness program. Chief Kopczynski and his team are in charge of the county's Emergency Operations Center, the hub of disaster coordination. And when activated, including twice last year with Hurricane Florence and Michael, in just a little over a year from now, we will break ground on an estimated $6 million Yorktown Library expansion and renovation. And I know this is Ms. Knoll's pet project. She's smiling over there on that. Our libraries are a valued source and a placemaker for our county. In fiscal year 2018, 2 libraries, Tabb and Yorktown, saw over 470,000 visitors with over 500,000 items in circulation. They hosted 834 programs attended by almost 23,000 people. It's 2 libraries, folks. And who said libraries have no value? We are thrilled that with this 21st century renovation and expansion, York County continues the tradition of maintaining and growing a library system that is relevant and serves the needs of our community. Over the last 3 years, we have hardened some of the county's facilities by installing generators at the Public Safety Building, the York County Administration Building, and the Finance Building. In another outstanding example of coordination with York County Schools, the county will be installing a full building generator at the Grafton Complex in conjunction with this summer's renovation. By working together, we will be creating a second fully capable school emergency shelter. Now, I want you to know this for the citizens of York County. We're proud of the fact that for the city of Poquoson, their shelter is Tabb High School, okay, in York County. And we're very proud to be able to work with the city of Poquoson on many other aspects. There have been positive changes in addition to facility investments. As the county administrator likes to say, a strong organization requires people, the tools to do the job, and a plan of action. In recent years, the Board of Supervisors has made progress in all aspects of the county organization. 4 years ago, we set 6 strategic priorities. They are simply great schools, exemplary public service, excellent customer service, effective communication, protection of the environment, and quality economic development. Much that we do is related to the strategic framework. That is our plan of action. We are making steady progress in ensuring our staff has the right tools to do the job. Most dramatically, we have invested $3.5 million in a modern fiscal accounting system. I think the other one's like 30 years old, 40 years old. It was just really ancient. We have put in place necessary funding to ensure that the first-class emergency communication system is sustainable, including $6 million in capital financing. We have established a technology fund to ensure that the computer systems on which we now rely are properly maintained and replaced. We are also providing all the necessary equipment, resources for our operational departments such as Fire and Life Safety, the Sheriff's Office, and Public Works. Plans and tools are important, but we all understand, and most of you in business truly understand this, that great people make an organization work. And York has long been blessed with hardworking, loyal, and I should add dedicated customer service, customer-oriented employees. I am very proud of the investment the Board of Supervisors has made in making our deserving employees, for our deserving employees. Since we came out of the recession, we have been able to provide salary increases and control health care costs in a manner that keeps York County an attractive place to work. In fact, at the urging of the board and with the hard work of the staff at the county and the school divisions, we have combined our health care coverage for a more stable rate structure and savings. And I believe the savings we last looked was about $1 million. $1 million, folks. That's how we look at stuff. Although we have always prided ourselves on running a lean organization, there is only so much a thin staff can do as the community grows and changes. This Board of Supervisors has recognized that reality and authorized limited expansion of staff positions over the last 3 years, the majority in public safety, including 9 new firefighters and paramedics positions and 6 new law enforcement personnel. We have also budgeted for 6 additional stormwater and sewer maintenance folks. The school board has approved proportionally similar increases in recent years in conjunction with improved economy and a return to slow enrollment growth. So now where are we going? I assure you, your county faces the future with optimism, given our overall situation. I am confident in our citizens, my fellow elected officials, and our staff to navigate the future effectively. However, it is important as business leaders for you to appreciate the limits that the county faces due to the dependence on decisions made by the Commonwealth and our place within the Hampton Roads economy. And if you don't know this, folks, you need to pay close attention to about what I'm about to say here concerning that. Our future success will largely be determined by the forces and variables mostly beyond our direct control. Beyond our direct control. What the state government does matters. Our school system receives slightly over half of the $140 million budget from the state of Virginia. While there have been some improvements over the last 2 years with state funding, the general trend over the past 20 years has been declining state resources for our schools. The county has tried to fill a gap, but many of us fear the proportional state contribution to for public education will once again start declining. Because the school division is the county's single largest expenditure, even the slightest decline from Richmond have major implications for the rest of the government, for the county government. Transportation is the other category of state spending that will shape the county's long-term prospects. Despite our progress on the interstate system, the Commonwealth continues to underfund local road construction and maintenance. This has become a major systemic problem all over Virginia. Think of the old, narrow country roads around the county and all the improvements that should be made. There's not one of you in here that doesn't know where a pothole is located, your favorite pothole. Almost none will be upgraded in our lifetime under the current state system unless the county raises taxes to pay for them. The maintenance of our current system is also inadequately funded. There are many roads in the county that should be repaved that will not be until they are in very bad condition, if ever. Routine things like ditch maintenance, mowing, and litter control are obviously substandard, even to the casual observer. And in many cases, the county staff is picking up the work. And I tell you, litter control is driving me nuts. And I see it at our entrances, and finally to the point where the state, our local region, Rossi Carroll, our resident engineer, he led a contract for James City County and York County just to pick that trash up. And you should have seen the amount of trash. It was phenomenal on our major road systems. And folks, all of us know this, that it's an introduction to our county. The introduction to our county and our roadways reflect us. And that trash along the road was not us. And the mowing, you see the mowing along the roads, the grass is 3 feet high. Finally, they're able to get to the point where they're able to do it. How will our positive future be constrained if the state-funded VDOT approach to road maintenance continues? Besides money for major state responsibilities, it is antiquated state policy that will impact our future. Will Virginia lawmakers allow counties to take more responsibility for their own problems? If Virginia isn't going to pay for roads or schools like it's supposed to, why not let local governments have more tax or more authority to fix problems on their own? While there are many examples, let me just give you one. Virginia law does not allow counties to have a tobacco tax. Cities can and do. This makes no sense when a suburban county, yes, suburban, folks, county like York, has almost all the same administrative responsibilities of a city. To put the point in perspective, if we were allowed to have the same tobacco tax that Hampton, it would raise $1.3 million annually. That is equivalent to this year's local contribution increase to the school division. And what that tax would do is it takes the burden off the real estate tax, because I hear that all the time, because that is our primary source. It is fine to stand here and talk about how great York County is, but let's get real. York County is not an island. No matter how good we think we are as a place, as an organization, our economic tide rises and falls with Hampton Roads' overall performance. When there is growth in federal spending, the port and tourism, York thrives, and our challenges shrink. When one or more of these pillars of the regional economy decline, we have problems. In recent years, the Hampton Road market has been one of the poorest performing regional economies in the United States, in part due to federal sequestration. And to give you an example of this, in 2007, the employment in Hampton Roads, of all of Hampton Roads, was 781,600 jobs. In 2018, it's 11 years later, we were barely able to get over that number, and we currently stand at 7,805, or excuse me, 705 185,200 jobs. Folks, in 10 years, basically that is less than half of 1/10%. That's sad, it really is. This fact fundamentally explains why York County recovery has been very slow since the Great Recession. At this moment, Hampton Roads' economy is improving, that's great, and this is good for our county. However, we need to understand that York's future is almost completely interdependent on how our region performs. That is why, as a board, or our board, places such a high priority on remaining engaged regionally. So what's on the horizon? The great American physicist Niels Bohr once quipped that, and I quote, "Prediction is very difficult, especially if it's about the future." By code, we plan for the future through our comprehensive planning process, which is currently being worked by a board-appointed team of citizens and staff. About a year from now, that group will share their recommendations regarding how we might anticipate change while preserving York County's status as a community of choice. The Hampton Roads, the comprehensive plan is the plan that guides us on where we're going in terms of population and zoning and all the important things. We all recognize that foreseeing how things will change is imperfect at best. How many of us would have understood the implication of the World Wide Web 25 years ago? And we're still waiting for the flying cars. The Board of Supervisors is engaged in some long-range thinking of at our annual retreat. We've identified several megatrends that will shape our community the coming decades, including the growing elderly population. Now we hear this, the growing elderly population. Statistics right now, we have 10,565 citizens over the age of 65. And that's in 2017, which represents 15.6% of our total population. And 2030, that will represent 19.5%, almost 20% of our population. 1 out of every 5 citizens of York County will be 65 and older. And the sea level rise. You know, a lot of times, I don't know, we hear the sea level rise, what are we doing about it? Well, that's another story. But understanding its impact, the sea level is rising, okay? Between 2018 and 2015, they expect a rise of about 1.5 feet. And 2050 to 2080, it's 3 feet, okay? Now, not many of us will be around by 2100, but at that time, the sea level rise should be 4.5 feet. Now that is a bunch, okay? And there's financial uncertainty, driverless vehicles, and education reform. It is no small task to proactively shape our community going forward when you consider the major global forces and combine that with York County's dependence on what happens throughout Hampton Roads and the uncertainty of state policy. But we are obligated to try to do our best. In my view, the best answer is to work together to build a community and organization that is as resilient as possible. What does that mean? It means a place where those metrics that I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks remain strong. Top-notch schools, low crime, and generally a high quality of life. It suggests our compass as we navigate the future should always point towards being a community of choice for residents and businesses, recognizing that our goals change over time. So what does a resilient York County look like in 5 to 10 years, considering all the things that are beyond our control? The answer is that we manage those variables that we can control, approaching issues in the county way, which is teamwork between residents, businesses, elected officials, and our professional staff. It means having a capital improvement plan with a realistic schedule, a plan which projects that investment in our infrastructure and our quality of life, including such things as the new law enforcement building, school modernization, and state-of-the-art fire department. Amenities that distinguish us from the crowd, like sidewalks, bike trails, and community facilities that take reinvestment, like the MAC, McReynolds Athletic Center, and the Yorktown waterfront. A resilient York County will also require elected leaders who remain engaged in important regional affairs that shape our economy and advocate with our elected representatives in Richmond. It will require a county organization that has the administrative capacity to deal with rapidly changing workforce and the resources to maintain customer service to our citizens at the highest level expected in a community of choice. How can the business community, many of you here today, help ensure York County remains the resilient community of choice we all want? National studies show that most successful localities are those that enjoy a close partnership and with an engaged business community. While you are certainly customers of York County government with a right to expect services and low taxes, the business community as a group is also a stockholder in our county. The citizens, elected leaders, and staff need you to be engaged and informed about all the topics that shape our community, from the very local land use cases or budget decisions to the much harder to understand but equally important things happening regionally and with the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, York County, Virginia has been America's future since 1781. And with your help, we will continue to be a place that the residents and businesses seek, and a leader in local government regionally and nationally. Thank you for your attention, your investment in your county. I am confident that working together, we will always be navigating to success. Thank you.